Color grading is hard, like really, really hard, and very time consuming, especially if you don't know where to start. This is going to be a super quick crash course into how I color grade my footage in hopes of helping point you in the right direction so that you can color grade your projects. Okay, so we're just gonna get straight into it. So I've opened up Premiere Pro, which is the editor of my choice, and I'll be showing you 3 clips shot with 3 different picture profiles. The first clip was shot with the Sony a6500 in Cine4. The second clip was shot with the Sony a6300 in S-Log3, and the last clip was shot with the Sony a7 III in high log gamma. Now, before we begin, make sure that you are set at the proper workspace so that you can see all your options for color grading. If you don't have any of these options up, then make sure to go to the tab and click on color. I've already made a custom workspace for me, so I'm gonna leave that the way it is because I have my Lumetri panel off to the right, as well as my Lumetri scopes to the left, which I'll explain later. So in the Lumetri panel on the right side, we'll be using 4 features: the basic correction, curves, color wheels, and HSL. And as I'm making my adjustments, you want to keep your eye on the Lumetri scopes. This waveform is called the RGB parade, which is a measurement of the color saturation of the red, green, and blue seen all across the image. This circular graph is called the vector scope, which is helpful to dial down skin tones, which we'll get to later. All right, we're gonna start with the first clip and then we're gonna make our way down. So like I said before, this clip was shot in Cine4, and so with Cine4 footage, I usually like to stretch the image as much as I can. So I'm gonna go down to my color wheels, I'm gonna go to my shadows and lower it down just a tad. And I'm gonna lower the highlights just a tad as well. And I'm gonna slightly bring up the midtones. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna go up to basic correction. Now I never mess with the white balance and the exposure because every time I do, it just messes up my grading. And so we're gonna skip those 2 for now. And what we're gonna do next is we're going to lower the contrast because I wanna see details in the shadows. I wanna lower the highlights just a little bit. I'm gonna bring down the shadows just a tad. And the highlights just a little bit. And so basically what I'm trying to do is that I'm just trying to dial in all the color values and luminance of the clip. And if you're looking at the RGB parade, we are seeing these values between 0 and 100. Ideally, you never want these values to touch that 0 line, and you want to keep your highlights to around 90 just to play it safe. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we're gonna go to curves. So this is an RGB curve. You've probably seen this before in other platforms like Lightroom. And the general rule of thumb is that you wanna create a slight S curve with an RGB curve, mainly to add a little bit of contrast and pop your image. Okay, so once you've made your S curve, we're gonna go down through all the hue saturation curves and skip all these beautiful lines and go down to the very last one. And we're going to click on the line to make a point and raise it up just a bit. And if you make another point on this end of the line, that'll bring up the saturation for the shadows and midtones, if you notice over there in the skin. And if you make a point on this side, you increase the saturation closer towards the highlights, or you can decrease it. Here it really does nothing, and that's a bit too much, so we're just gonna bring it down just a tad. There you go. Okay, looking better and better. Okay, so once that's there, we're gonna go down to our HSL. And what we're gonna do is that we're going to adjust the skin tones. If you look over here, it's a bit bluey, maybe a bit magenta-y, mainly because they're in the shade and the dominant light is, they're actually backlit by the sun over here. Okay, so in the HSL panel, if I click on the drop down where it says key, that'll bring up these little doohickeys. And what this does is that it selects specific color values that you can manipulate. So click this eyedropper here. And so what we're gonna do is that we're going to select a point on somebody's skin. In this case, we'll just click her head right over here. And it does nothing right now, but if you click on this little box over here, you're gonna see a mask of the colors that you've selected. So with this mask on, I wanna see more of the skin. So I'm gonna go to the second eyedropper with the plus sign, and I'm just gonna click over here, and that adds more of the skin. I'm gonna click on this over here, there's more right there. And this feature is as cool as it is terrifying to watch. I mean, it looks like soulless creatures that are looking at me, and I'm deathly terrified here. Okay, that should be good enough. I kind of like to blur it up just a little bit so it softens up the edges. If you look over here, it's a little rough, but I just want to soften up just a little bit. Okay, so let's get out of this terrifying soul-eating filter. So we're gonna click out of the mask, and what we're gonna see here, and so now our colors are selected. And so if you see this big color wheel over here, watch what happens when I take it to a different color. Okay, they're getting a bit more of a tan. Okay, they are aliens or related to the Incredible Hulk. For bringing it over here, they've eaten a lot of blueberries. For bringing it over here, they look like characters from Guardians of the Galaxy. You get the point. So basically what I want to do is I want to make sure to level out their skin tones so it doesn't look too bluey or magenta. And so the opposite of magenta and blue, this whole little area over here is going in this direction. So I'm going to shift my point just slightly over there just to see what happens, and already it's looking better. And if you look over here on the vector scope, you'll notice that there's some strong data over here on this line, which is the skin line, and this basically is a measurement of the color of blood in people's skin. So no matter what kind of skin you have, everyone has the same color blood. That's what this is for, and we want to make sure that we are in this area. Let's just shift this just a little bit more. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's see what it looks like before. After. There you go, a little more natural. That's pretty cool. You can also increase the luminance of that selected color value. And so in this case, I can just bring up the skin just a little bit. Looking real nice. Very cool. I can increase the saturation if I wanted. Maybe not so much. Okay, we'll just keep it right there. Okay, so before and after. Much better. And you're done. Okay, moving on to S-Log3. S-Log3, same principles. We're going to start with the color wheels, and we're going to look at our RGB parade and try to stretch these values as much as we can without breaking it too much because it is 8-bit footage. So let's see, let's go down right over here. And I'm just going to just fly by since I've already explained it in the first time. And so hopefully you'll see what I'm doing, knowing all the information that I've said before. Okay, so I can push it just about right there. Okay, so let's go to basics. And let's just lower the contrast. I'm going to try to increase the highlights for this one because it's S-Log3, so I know I can handle it. And I'm just going to lower the shadows quite a bit. All right, that's pretty good over there. And what I'm going to do actually is that I'm going to bring up the saturation overall just to see where I'm at. Keep that there. Let's go to my S curve right there. It's looking better and better, guys. Okay, and let's see, let's go all the way down. Let's go here to the bottom over here and increase the saturation a little bit more. Looking good. Let's go ahead and bring down the highlights, and we're going to just right there. That's pretty good, guys. Pretty awesome. Oh, that's looking really nice. Let's go ahead and bring the shadows down just a little bit more. Very cool, guys. And last but not least, let's go down to our HSL. We're going to isolate the skin. Make sure that's selected. Make sure the mask is selected so that you can select more of the skin. A very terrifying process in my opinion. Soften it up just a bit, get out of the mask. Her skin has a bit of a pinkish tone, so we're just gonna bring it towards the greens just a little bit, keeping our eye on the vector scope. There you go. It's looking pretty good, guys. Okay, before, after, a little more natural, yeah? Okay, so let's go take a look at the original footage. Before, after, much better. Great, moving on. Oh, we are flying through. And finally, the last one, high log gamma. Now, this is my absolute favorite picture profile because it just looks good straight out of the camera. It's a good mixture between Cine4 and S-Log3, where it can handle the dynamic range of S-Log3, but you don't have to overexpose it to get the right exposure when you're shooting, if that makes sense. And really, the only thing that I do with high log gamma footage is I just open up the basic correction panel and I just increase contrast, lower down highlights, maybe shadows, and maybe a bit of the saturation, but that is pretty much it. His skin is a little bit pink, so we're gonna adjust the skin tone just a tad. So we're gonna click on that over here, make sure we're on the mask. I see, oh, you know what? I don't have my lumetri scopes. There we go. So we're gonna select more of this guy, select more of this guy. There we go. And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna blur this out, soften it up, get out of that mask, and we're going to bring it, it's a little bit magenta-y, so we're gonna bring it towards the yellows, greenish area. There you go. And of course you can do other things, like if you wanna do your S-curve, you can do that as well. So here's what it is before, after. Not too much of a difference, but still looks much better after we've color graded. And done. Oh, that is how you do it. High fives all around. High fives all around, everybody. Good job, everyone. Good job. Just me in my room. All right, well, now that we've finished color grading and it's all done, I want to thank today's sponsor, and that's Skillshare. If you're looking for a place to help you achieve your 2019 goals, then Skillshare is the platform to check out. If you don't know Skillshare, Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and more. They do offer many free courses, but their premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can join the classes and communities that are just right for you and your goals for the new year. So whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving in 2019. Also, Skillshare is super affordable with an annual subscription of less than $10 a month. Skillshare also has a mobile app, which is where I take my classes from, and the class that I'm currently taking is Mobile Photography Basics for Instagram Success, which is something that I've been meaning to get into. Each class have video lessons that you can watch in your spare time, or you can tap the Discover button and browse through topics that you might be interested in. It's a pretty awesome platform to learn new things and grow, so definitely check them out. In fact, the first 500 people to click on the link below will receive 2 months of their premium service for free. So there you go, check them out, link below. Thanks Skillshare for sponsoring this episode. Well, hopefully this video was helpful to you. I mean, I hope it at least points you in the right direction to color correct and color grade your footage. I know it's a lot, and so by all means, if you have any questions, then let me know in the comments below, or even hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. But I got some pretty awesome videos coming up the next few weeks that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and so make sure to stick around. But now I gotta end this video so I can edit this video so that you could watch this video in the future, or the present, or the past. Wait, what?